I'm saying from that point of view, and then whatever, I don't know. So just a backlog of videos. Anyway, so I wanted to put in an idea, share an idea here, and you know, along my journey, I have found that there are certain moments where I get slightly traumatized, okay, and I, like for example, when I took ayahuasca, right, it was a slight traumatization in that. That was one example. Another example was when I did this video a long time ago, and this happened to me ages ago when I was probably, must be maybe 10 years ago or 9 years ago, when I needed to get out of the city, and I just was going through my awakening experience. I mean, the initial stages of it, and I was really freaking out, and I was really not having an easy time, and I was in the city for a long time, and I found this guy in a retreat center at the Zen Den named Prana, and I caught a plane and arrived at this very quiet and remote farm. I'm just coming from the hustle and the bustle of the busy city, and then I arrived at the farmhouse and no one was there. Somebody let me in and then they left, and then I went and I rolled a Mary Jane and I had a smoke and I walked into the middle of nowhere, and I was just out of it. I was just, the energy was too quick, from the dramatic city, from being around the people, from everything else that was going in my life, etc., etc. I mean, I can do a whole nother video on this, really, on the whole experience, but how intense it was. I mean, it was like a mild, not breakdown, I would say, it's a terrible word, but like I didn't sleep for like 48 hours. I was just jittery, I was scattered, I was on edge, I was nervous, I was extremely anxious, right? I just couldn't wait to get back to the city, to normality in a way, and I just wanted to settle down. I just wanted to be able to sleep. I just wanted to be able to be, not have my heart beating at a rapid rate, whatever it was. And so that was a mild traumatization in a sense, and I mean that was another one. And I just had them along the way where, I don't know, maybe I've been on YouTube before and other things that, there is something that pushes me over the edge in a way. So like I'm saying, there's a build up of things. I don't know, there's a lot of stress going on in my life, there's a lot of pressure, and then I'll watch something that's disturbing on YouTube. Like, yeah, that's what I used to watch, some of these sort of very conspiratorial channels or something like that, of something or other, and with all the stresses that was going on and everything, and then I'd have a panic. I'd go into a panic. This is it, it's a panic. I go into a panic and it can last for days, right? And my point being is that, so that's another example. I've had it when, I don't know, I mean, you get the idea. And for some of you folks out, I mean, like, I've had other traumas happen to me. I've had car accidents, I've had house break-ins, I've had bad, just like all of us. But I mean, not that you've had house break-ins, a lot of them, and but you know what I'm saying. And so I'm talking about after these events that, I mean, I've had, smoked too much cannabis one time, and also a panic attack for like, just went on and on and on, and anxiety after. And then what happens is when I start coming down a bit and I start sort of becoming regular and regulating my, the normal current, existence, heartbeat is normal, not so, I mean, anxiety, but it's there, but you just feel raw. That's what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying, folks? So you just feel absolutely raw. Okay, and very, very, very sensitive. It's like, when the day after I took ayahuasca, when I woke up in the morning, I only slept for like an hour that night, because there were a group of people, and when I woke up in the morning, I saw this woman, the first woman that I saw, and she was wearing a t-shirt, and she had a skull with like the crossbow or something going through the skull, and I just felt the energy, and I was like, whoa, that's dark, eh? That's dark. I mean, it was also, I think there was white and red and black, which is generally the satanic colors. Funny enough, that's Coca-Cola's colors as well. Yeah, red, white, and black. And so I felt that. I felt other people's discomforts around me, or whatever, just states. I was just raw. I was more aware of energies, and I was more sensitive. Okay. When I went to the Zen den, when I left this, went to this farm place, left the city, and I came back to the city, and at the time with my girlfriend, I'd been dating for like 2 years, but I didn't realize what an angry person she was, and how she would fight with her sister. And she was always fighting with her sister, but when I came back, the fighting with her sister got to such a degree, I was just so sensitive. I said, please, just be kind to each other. I can't handle it. And I couldn't believe that had been going. It goes on all the time. It was a normality of things, and I never realized it. And I was just so that I had to lock myself in the room whenever they would even talk to each other, because the way that they would be like, hey, and it was just horrific, and I just couldn't handle it. And I was just too sensitive and raw, and I would then I would see advertisements, and I would see things that were not modest, and people, and and troubled people, and severely overweight people, and I would fear, and I would be like, this person doesn't have maybe self-control, or not just overweight people, but people like, with tattoos everywhere or something, like, and not tattoos that are bad, but even on the face tattoos, or I'd just watch TV and I'd get his head shot off, and I'd be like, oh, and I would like, I can't take this, I can't take it, it's just too dark, it's just too dark, and it's just too much. Okay, at the time I was also living in an apartment in in the most busiest part of the city, in a sense. I mean, at my girlfriend's house or whatever it was. But like, that's it. You just become so raw, and you become so sensitive, right? To even music, to like the garbage of music, and it's overwhelming. It's overwhelming, and you actually feel nauseous, and you feel sick, right? And so, yeah, like you just become more in touch with, more so I would say for myself, the darker energies of things. Okay, and you just actually feel like you don't know where to turn. Sometimes you just don't know where to turn. And there was something more recent that happened to me. Yeah, I can't get into the detail really of what happened, but something really shocked me. Okay, and I must say the shock happened to me, I think, last week Sunday. I didn't realize I was shocked at the time by what happened. I can't get into it; it's too confidential. But Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Okay, now it's Saturday. I mean, I feel more centered in myself. But like when I was feeling so raw, I don't know. The things become so intense, right? And if I'm talking to, let's say, a family member, let's say my mother or something like that, she's having a heavy day, that heaviness just is too much for me, right? I can't. I'm too exposed. I'm too raw. I'm too open to it. It's like I can't just. Normally I'm fine. I'm there. I'm present. I hear it. It doesn't impact me greatly. I have the boundary for that. And I'm okay. But sometimes, like, when she was talking to me on Monday, I said, look, I got to go lie down. This was just like midday. I was like, I'm sorry, I can't. I need to just catch my breath. I need to just sit quietly and just have peace, space, catch my breath, type of thing. And couldn't really, listen too much or watch much or something, like just being really very sensitive. And so for myself, and then people that I live with, or one of the people that I live with, not that I live with that many, actually, that's confidential as well. I can't really get into that. I'd like to, but can't really. And, the other person in the house, they just, not very sensitive or aware of my state of being or what's going on for me, and they'll talk very loudly, and they're very restless. Generally, they're very restless, right? They're not very centered. They can't really keep still. can't really be without their cell phone or watching TV or something like that. And I just feel that I'm like, oh please, and I can't even say to them, look, this is how I'm feeling. Just simmer it down a bit, simmer it down, type of thing. And like that's it, folks. It's like, that I know it just. So that's just people in general. And so my point is that you feel exposed, you feel raw, and you get overwhelmed. Okay. And this generally, it happens from time to time, and perhaps some of you know what I'm talking about as well, where again, you're just so raw that somebody can say something that's so slight, and yet it doesn't break your heart, but it makes you, like, you can't believe it. You can't believe, and they say this to you all the time, or the way that they talk to you normally, the way that maybe they swear a hell of a lot, or something or other, the way they do something or other, and which may be not healthy, and generally, you're aware of it, but it doesn't impact you greatly. But when you see chaos generally in the other people or in the world around you, then it just feels like, oh my word, oh, for goodness sake. Anyways, I'm not giving the best examples, but I think you get the picture of what I'm saying. When you're startled, when traumatized in a sense, when something happens, when you're shocked, when there's the earth, something or other, the earth falls apart, falls away from under your feet for just a moment, something or other, and you become raw. Okay, what I want to say is that rawness can make you stronger. Once you get through that rawness and that sensitivity, right, it'll make you stronger. That's what I have found, and that's what my message is. It will make you stronger. You learn so much in that raw state, and at the same time, you probably, you're having massive downloads in that raw state because you're so open, you're so vulnerable. So for myself, you're seeing things on a very, very much a metaphysical, esoteric, existential level, right? You're seeing a lot more of the spirit realm in a sense, I find, because you're more awakened, you're more aware of energies. Okay, the light and the dark energies, but when you're raw, when you're in that state, it's generally the darker energies that you feel. One of my suggestions, if you are feeling in that state, is obviously to wait it out, hold on, take it easy, and try and get back to the basics, which I'm saying is nature. Try to spend more time in nature, try to be grounded on the sand, on the soil, on the grass, outdoors, fresh air, things that are real, things that are natural, okay? For myself, even when I'm in these states, like foods, a lot of foods I can't eat. Like foods that are maybe not even processed. I'm generally healthy, but foods that have been heavily fried or, or something or other, or some processed, I can't eat them. I just, that's something else that I also find. Okay, sensitive to food, sensitive to, yeah. Okay, so that's another thing. So you just eat a little bit healthier, meditate a little bit more. Try and take baths or be around water, shower or something like that. Drink water as well. Basically, what you want to be doing is that you're building up your kundalini in a sense, right? Something like that. I don't know these words, but that's it. You bring him back up again, and you're feeling empowered, and you'll come back to this anyways. But if you're wanting to maybe assist the process, and then there are things that you can do to revitalize yourself in a way. Okay, because again, something has been depleted, an energy that you generally have and carry, which is sometimes that same energy that keeps you very much away from a lot of the spiritual realms and world, right? Has disappeared, has gone away, has been depleted or something like that, right? Where again, because that's what psychedelics do. You feel absolutely vulnerable, scared, afraid, frightened, uncertain on psychedelics. Because again, it takes away the general ego, and it takes away your familiarity, it takes you away of the known. And that's what happens in these states, folks. Where something happens, I don't know, you have an insight, a download, you smoke some Mary Jane and trips you out a bit, you take psychedelics, trips you out a bit, I don't know, you make love to the wrong person, you take on their energies, it trips you out. And that used to happen to me a lot, right? Trips you out. It's like you don't realize you're so absorbed in the other person's energy and they're so dysfunctional, and you're making love and you took on all their energy, and now you're walking around and it's like, ugh, and I felt that. Also, another thing to do if you're feeling, raw in that state, is try not to have any sort of sexual release. It's also important as well, I find, for myself. And so on and so forth. And so, what can I take from here? What can I say here? So yeah, that's the thing, is that you're more exposed, you're more raw to the spiritual realms, and it gives you more downloads, and when you're in that raw moment, again, like psychedelics, there's so much going on that you can't process it all. So you won't process everything, all the rawness, all the spiritual depth and feeling sensitivity that you have when you're feeling raw and in that almost crisis mode, in that anxious mode. You're not going to process it all, but you're going to pick up bits and pieces. You're going to see more globally, more multidimensionally, more universally, or something. I don't know, something or other, right? You're going to make a little bit more sense of your purpose here, of life, of death, of polarity, of the light and the dark. You're going to have downloads. And so that's the thing, is that, and that's also why we feel vulnerable at that time, because it's like, oh my word, my world has just expanded tenfold. My aperture is so wide open, and it's just a blooming, buzzing confusion, as I think William Blake says, when a child comes into the world. It's a blooming, buzzing confusion. It is. I mean, that's what life is generally, but then again, we have this sense of management and coping and strategies in place and strength in order to go within the physical realm and still be open to the spiritual realm, the transcendental realm. But the transcendental realm, don't kid ourselves, is blooming, buzzing confusion. There's a lot of action going on there. It is timeless, it is boundless, it is huge. It's gigantic. It can swallow you up. And that's what you do feel like is happening. It feels like you're being swallowed up, like on a psychedelic. You feel like you're being swallowed up. And so again, I have found that you come back to your normal state of operation, whatever it is, but you come back stronger. And you come back more wiser and more experienced, definitely, right? And so that's something to hold on to, I think, perhaps in these times. I mean, when you and myself, when we're going through these raw experiences, and he's feeling vulnerable and highly, highly sensitive. Okay, almost to a degree that you feel so freaked out by it, because the world is dark, the world is ugly, there's no question about it. It really is. Somebody, when you're in those states, can be a little bit nasty to you, and it can break you, right? When somebody can maybe rip you off, or be sly, or be cunning, or be manipulative, which people are most of the time, right? Or they, you feel it when somebody is a narcissist in your life. You see the depths of their depravity, right? You see, that's another thing. You see the depths of the depravity within the world, within people, that generally is there, right? But you're in touch with it to some degree, but you're not widely open and exposed to it, right? So, yeah, folks, this is just something that may be of assistance to some, and whatnot. I don't know. Yeah, folks. Anyway, so I think I'll leave it at that. Again, I hope you're doing well, carrying on the journey, and taking care of yourself. Alright, we'll chat soon. Take care.